Welcome back to another episode of Armchair Author Chats. Today we have the amazing AK Nevermore, writes sci-fi and dark romantasy with spice. She enjoys operating heavy machinery, freebases coffee, and gives up sarcasm for Lent every year. Gosh, I love that so much. A Jane of all trades, she's a certified chef, restores antiques, and dabbles in beekeeping when she's not reading voraciously or running down the dream in her beat up camo chucks. AK belongs to the Authors Guild, is an RWA chapter board member, volunteers for far too many committees, teaches creative writing, and on a rare occasion sleeps. Please welcome the author of spicy fantasy and sci-fi romance, AK Nevermore. How are you, my dear?
Good. How are you?
I am well, thank you. It's so good to have you here. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for doing this.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
So, welcome to the armchair. Let's give us your book pitch, but do it like you're talking to a friend who hates spoilers and pick whichever book you would like, your most recent release. Please share with our audience.
So I've got a bunch of them, and my brain's a little bit fried because I just finished writing one that's not for sale yet. So, um, if I had to pick one, I would definitely like my favorite is in the Price of Talent series. It'd be Breaker, and that is a spicy dystopian romance. And it's really fun. It's basically I think that the tagline is a broken man's journey to save the woman that he's afraid to love. So yeah, I write a lot of the morally gray alpha hole type kind of heroes that don't want to be there but have to do it just because.
They're like, they're great. I've read a few of I've started one. I've started the urban fantasy romance. I love the cover. I'm obsessed. But you also do the paranormal romance and the
Yeah.
dystopian romance, which I am obsessed. I love that. It's such a unique area, right? And it's almost like untouched. In my opinion, there's so many more mainstream whatever, and these are my favorite. Just saying, you have a special place in my heart already. What is the most chaotic way this story came to you? Dream, shower thought, total accident?
So Breaker was definitely a dream. It was one of those things where I woke up and I had just had this like I get scenes stuck in my head. And it can be anything. Like literally I can be walking down the street and I'll see like something on the side of the road, like a paper cup or whatever, and I'll get the scene that builds up in my head. And Breaker was very much that, where it was the scene that I couldn't let go of, and then it morphed to something completely different after I had written it down. But it was just something that it didn't let me go.
Oh, I love that. Writers, we're a quirky bunch.
hmm
What is your most embarrassing or ridiculous writing habit, if you have any?
I don't know that I have an embarrassing or ridiculous writing habit other than it pretty much I have to be like in the same place. I can't do noise. I know I have friends who they have to have the TV going or they have to have music playing or something. I have to have quiet and I have to be like in my same place, which is basically right here. I have to be, like on my couch. For a while, it was in a chair in my kitchen, and I could only write there. But recently, I tried to go back there, and it just didn't work. So I think it's just like I have to have the right setup, I guess.
No, I love that. I love that. There's something to be said about having like a space you go to every day that's
hmm
non-chaotic, predictable, and you just know that this is what you have to sit here and do. And I think there's like some scientific research that backs that up in some way, shape, or form. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to know what it is, but it's like that, your brain is triggered to know what to do just by
hmm
that routine, which is, I don't, it can be ridiculous because I like silence too. I love being in writing sprints. I love hosting them. I love being in them, but I am a chatty Cathy. So I know for me, if I'm trying to work and write, I can totally relate to you on this and just need that
hmm
complete silence. I love that. I love that. So, did your book ever completely betray you? A plot twist, character rebellion, deadline disaster, Anything come to mind?
So, yes and no. I am 100% a pantser, so I will sometimes have an idea of where something's going to go, and then I have a character that goes completely off the rails. And what I've discovered is that if I try to like rein them in, I can't write past that. So I usually just kind of have to let them do what they want, and I'm along for the ride, which can be difficult sometimes. But usually when if I'm doing the indie thing, then it's not a big deal because I'll have deadlines, but they're not like, oh my God, drop dead type kind of thing. Unless it's for my editor, and I try to give myself enough of a cushion there where if I'm in trouble, then I can't have enough time to get out of it. But I do know that I was writing it was one of the Mayhem books again. And my publisher for that is a digital first, and they only do novellas. So it has to be, like under 50,000 words. And even then they're like, this is a really long novella. And I'm like, I know, but I
They're
can't
like,
write
you're
short.
pushing it.
Yes, and it was one of those things where it was coming up to like the end of my contract, and they were talking about, kind of changing the format of the books because I like to write in series. So all of the books are about the same characters, and they follow like quickly one right after the other. Like it'll be a week time span or something like that. And they were like, okay, so what we really want you to start thinking about doing is doing separate characters for each of these novellas. So that means that when this is done, you have to kind of like wrap this up. And I'm going, oh. So I'm trying to change the time frame and the trajectory of everything in my head. And that was really, really difficult. And I almost did not make that deadline because it was a radical like thinking shift for what I had to do.
I can't even imagine. I mean, you're just completely having to pivot essentially and go,
Mhm. It was really hard. I mean, I did it. Am I 100% happy with how the end of that one came out with? But at the same time, it's like I haven't gone back to that series yet. So I'm like, I could just do what I want and do it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. I have to finish the Breaker series, which I have one more book to do on that. And then I'm going to go back to the other stuff and see what I can do with it. So
well, I think that's great. And the fact that you can pivot and still keep it together, I'm impressed.
it wasn't easy or pretty for a while. I will
I'd be
promise you that.
crying under the desk. That's what were there tears? I'd have been having like, no,
There was a quite a bit of bourbon. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
I
I
knew
was
it.
like,
I knew it. With like your Facebook group, Books and Bourbon, I believe it's called.
yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
Bring it on in, friends.
Yes.
So, what's one moment on your publishing journey that made you think, oh no, or oh yes, for those of us out there who maybe have decided to publish yet by indie and might go,
Oh, if it's in regards to like indie publishing, I think that so first I was traditionally published with a small press, and then I was digitally published, and then like kind of in that same time frame as when I decided to go indie as well because I had three series at that time. And I was always very much of the generation and the kind of mindset that you need an agent and you need to get in the big five, otherwise you're not really a writer. It's so basically
100% agree. Yes.
it's a lot of gatekeepers, and you know, and the thing is that what I've really come to realize since going through this kind of transition, and I still do the digital first publishing, and I still do the traditional publishing, and I still do I do all of it. I am hybrid. But what I've come to really realize is that if you're not getting through the doors traditionally or to your agents or whatever it is, it really does not have any bearing on your work. What it is whomever you're sending it to, it is their ability to sell it because you are a commodity. So if they're looking at your work, it doesn't matter if this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. If they don't eat carbs, they're not going to pick it up, type kind of thing. And that was something that was really difficult for me to understand at first, because it's like, you wrote a good book. Why wouldn't everybody want to read it? Well, not everybody likes reading everything. And it really is kind of, it's a very bizarre mindset, because you have to kind of go from the artistry of it to the business sense of it. And those two things are very different portions of your brain.
Oh gosh, I hear this from my husband a lot. He's like, super creative, creative people, and then the business mind. It's such a shift for us. It's really,
Hmm.
really hard. And maybe for a business, but he's very business minded. I'll say that. So he'll just go, but the creative stuff is hard for him. So yeah, this is good stuff. Good stuff. I like this. So don't be disheartened, friends. If you're listening right now, don't be disheartened. There are plenty of writers who have gone either route and been successful. So
Hmm.
it can be done, and never fear. So writer's block can happen. Some of us a little more than others. But what's your guilty pleasure distraction when the words don't come, or maybe you just need a break? Maybe you don't get writer's block, but maybe you just kind of go, you know what, I need to like woosah for a moment.
So I actually don't believe in writer's block. I believe in I screwed up somewhere before. So usually what happens with me is, if I get to a point where I'm not able to move forward, it's usually because something went off the rails a chapter or two back. Either I don't have a character coming in when they're supposed to, they have the wrong reaction to something. I need a character to come in, I need to blow something up or have a sex scene, whatever, shake things up a little bit. But that's usually what is going wrong when I can't move forward in a piece. And I'll go back to the beginning and I'll read through it, and then I'll kind of think about it for a while. Um, if I'm having issues starting a project, which sometimes also does happen, there's usually a reason for that as well. And it's usually like, a what about this project scares me? What about this project don't I want to do? Um, and that's something that, usually I just sit down and make myself do it, because that's just how I am.
I
But
love
the
this. It's like reverse engineering why you're stalling. That's all. It's just kind of going, okay, where'd the splat come from? Like, what happened here?
Mhm.
I love that. And
Yeah,
I've heard this before. There was a speaker, a writer who was speaking at a local library near me, and he was saying something quite similar to what you're saying. So there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. Absolutely. Yeah.
the only other time that I get kind of caught up is, I always end up, the last chapters are usually slogging through concrete when I'm going to finish a book. And I I haven't quite figured out why that is yet. I don't know if it's just the kind of like, ending the project is kind of, it's like giving birth type kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
bittersweet. You're like, well, I don't want to end
yeah,
it, but I have to.
hmm, it's
Empty
that.
nest syndrome.
It is, but then it's also, and what am I going to do next? So there's this last one that I did end up sending out to agents, and I'm sending out to a publisher. So it's kind of like, I think it's maybe that kind of anxiety that's coming forward, where I don't want to end it because then I have to do something with it, type kind of thing. So yeah, but as far as writer, I go back and I try to figure out what's going on.
I love the self reflection on the back end of it too, where you're like, why don't I want to end this? I find myself in that same predicament where I'm in book 2 of my series and I'm sitting here going, no, there could be a 4, there could be a 5. I mean, why not? Why can't we just keep it going? I mean, shoot, Janet Ivanovich, Harry Potter series. I mean, I've seen them keep going. And
Hmm.
I love that. I love that. Oh goodness. So let's play producer. If your book had a trailer, it may already have, friends. What's the opening scene?
Oh gosh, probably something blowing up. I'm very good at blowing things up in all my series.
I did notice a trend. I noticed that trend. But who doesn't
Yeah.
like, remember that there was like this thing like cool guys like explosions. I don't know. Anyway, I'm derailing. Carry on.
It probably would be. It would be like explosions and kissing and like general mayhem, those pictures that, just like flash at you of like scenes type kind of thing. That's probably what it would be. Yeah.
Oh, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I like when things explode. What's the
Hmm.
weirdest or most unexpected feedback you've ever gotten from a reader, if you have?
From a reader. I don't, you know what? This is really strange. I would say that in the beginning, it was like the random people who were like, this is good. Like to me, that was the weirdest thing because it's like, okay, so my mom, yeah, she'll say it's okay. And I'll get this from my friends. Yeah, it's good. Da, 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 da. But having someone who I didn't know completely, out of the blue, like leave a review where they were like really into it, that was amazing. And that was weird, but it was awesome.
It's awesome because it's sort of, I mean, it's external, albeit, but there's a validation there. Like I'm impacting other people, and this was the goal. I want to impact others. I want to write stories that move people,
Mhm.
and to hear that from a reader is, it's priceless. It's truly priceless. So people,
Oh, yeah.
do your reviews. We love to
Yes,
hear it.
please. Yes.
Please don't be like me and be lazy. Do your reviews. I love that. Oh, I love that. So let's see. If you could mash up your story with any other author's universe, whose world would collide with yours?
Oh God, that's a dangerous question. So it would be probably like a Roger Zelazny or a Brandon Sanderson or a George R. R. Martin type kind of. I love like the huge, epic, interconnected, like these crazy worlds. I would be one of those. Yeah, definitely.
I love that. I love Brandon Sanderson. I can already see it. I can already see it. So, which book from your childhood still lives rent free in your head and maybe inspired you more than you realized?
So these are really stupid. It would definitely be Sid Fleischman. He wrote the McBroom series and a couple other ones. And basically what that is it's McBroom and his wonderful 1 acre farm. And there is this 1 acre farm, but it's very small and it goes down instead of out, and it's got this like magic soil on it and all of these weird things happen. Like they have these huge like corn cobs that you can ride on, and they've got these huge what do you call it, watermelons that jump all over the place, and jumping beans. And next to it there's the farmer who was like trying to get away with selling it to him, like he did it on a whatever, and he keeps trying to get it back. So Heck Jones is like the villain, and it's just I think they have like 11 kids or something, and it's this whole line of names that they say at once, and it's all of these absolutely ridiculous things that happen. And if you're reading the urban fantasy, you know that I really like ridiculous things, and just like the stranger the better. These things come out of the blue, and it's like what, but it's kind of plausible, and that just makes it really fun.
I love that, and I can definitely see that in the urban fantasy for sure. As you're talking, I'm going, oh my gosh. It has definitely impacted you and stayed with you for sure. I love that. I'm gonna have to read the McBroom series now. I'm in. I'm in. I'm gonna understand you so much better too. So, say you're hosting a chaotic dinner party with
Mhm.
three of your characters. What's on the menu, and who flips the table first?
Okay, so it would definitely be lobster and it would be Flynn would be one of them. Fitz would be another. And I'm trying to think who would the last one be? I don't know. I would have to, you know what? Envy. Envy would definitely be on there just because she could hold her own. And I'm going to say that she might be the one that flips the table first.
I think just her name alone might be an indicator she might be the one that flips the table first. I love that.
Hmm.
Love a girl that ain't afraid to flip a table.
No.
So, looking back, what was the worst writing advice you had ever gotten, and how did you ignore it?
Oh, okay. So I did not ignore it at first, which was part of the problem. So I after I had this like crazy dream and I had done a lot of writing stuff beforehand and I had worked with, people and I had gone through, publishing stuff and I gotten really close to getting into one of those big five publishers. But then I had kids and you know what happens when you have kids, everything else goes out the window. So I had this dream and I had picked it back up. And I was like, okay, I've got this book. And I had tried to shop it out and I wasn't going anywhere. So I'm like, okay, well, then I'm going to take classes. So I ended up taking this one class. It was like an MFA year-long style course that I went to. And it was basically run by those guys in jackets with, the elbow pads, and they were very all snooty and that kind of thing. And the guy basically said to me, he's like, well, it's
Sounds very
obvious that
Oxford.
it funny, it was over in the UK where this came from, but yes.
Oh,
And
we are on
they
target.
were they it was all I can say is if you write genre, don't go to like literary classes. Not if you like expect to get out unscathed. And this guy, he basically said to me, he goes, well, it's obvious that you can write. Now you just need to write something worth reading. And I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. And they had taken my book and they ripped it apart and basically peed all over it. And we're like, okay, so this was your practice novel. Now you need to write a real one. And I was absolutely devastated. I cried a lot. I didn't write for about 6 months. And then I wrote Flame and Shadow, which was basically that's my revenge piece. I I took all of the stuff that they had said that my first book should be, and I twisted it. So they wanted me to write something more like The Hunger Games, write something more like The Power, write something more like. Needs to be in first person, needs to have a female protagonist, main protagonist. And these were all things that my first book was polar opposite of. It was totally not. And I did it, but I did it really spitefully. And it's very interesting to me that that's the one that got picked up by a traditional publisher. And I think that the reason at the time for that was I stopped listening to everyone. I stopped listening to all of the critique that was coming in. And this was my voice. And it was very raw. It was very much unfiltered. And I didn't care. And when I put it out there, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm putting it out here. It's not going to go anywhere. I don't care. And then it got picked up. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe this is the secret.
So, what are their names? I'm going to write it down for you. Just kidding. That's the key, right? Oh, and then there's that old saying, those who can't do teach, even though I'm all about the teaching and I love learning and everything like that.
Mhm.
But I say that just because it's kind of a little bit true. Like maybe they were scholarly, maybe they did have these whatever fancy things, but at the end of the day, what worked for you would never have worked for them anyway. And this is
It's
why not only did they not understand what your voice is and what your writing is, it ticked them off because they couldn't understand it. And it could have
it,
ticked
it's
them off because they couldn't write that way. They
it
could
could
have been
have.
just
And you
yeah.
know what I find really interesting is, the whole attitude that goes along with that is the same one where people they poo-poo romance.
Yeah.
Like it's not real writing. And it's like, okay, but it is literally the best-selling genre
Yep.
anywhere.
Ever.
But it's not a valid genre to write in. And it's
And
very
yet it's every store you walk into, it's on all the end caps. It's at the
yeah.
registers. It's one of the top. And it's like,
It
the
it's very
people
hypocritical.
poo-pooing it are just grumpy.
They need to be reading more of it.
I agree. And maybe they're just not getting enough of
Well, yeah, exactly. They need some pointers. Here, take a book.
here's instructions.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before I let you go, I have a couple bonus questions because I think we've
Hmm.
kind of ran over our time a little bit here. You're good, right? I'm not holding you
I'm
up
good.
from anything. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So, if your writing voice, speaking of your writing voice, which is amazing,
Thank
by the
you.
way, had a catchphrase, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, my right, if it had a catchphrase, I have no idea. That
That's a
I'm gonna
good
have to
question,
think
right?
about that. That's a really good, yeah. If it had a, yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know.
We're gonna think on that one. We're gonna come back to it before I let you loose here.
Whoa,
So,
whoa.
which fictional character would you most want to share a bottle of wine or coffee or bourbon with?
Which fictional character? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that either. I read a lot and maybe, you know what? No, it would be with Fitz because that's who's my next series is going to be about, and I would need him to tell
Ooh.
me how to write the book.
Sit down, Fitz. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
If your antagonist had their own spin-off,
Hmm.
what genre would it be? Rom-com, horror, or reality TV?
Oh, it would be tragedy. It would be
Oh,
a tragedy. Absolutely.
absolutely. I love that. I love it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks
Please
for having
tell
me.
our audience, you're so welcome. Please tell our audience where they can find you, connect with you, buy your books, all the fun things.
Yeah, I'm on Amazon and I'm on Kobo, Kindle Unlimited, all the places, basically, Barnes and Noble, all that kind of stuff. You can find me on aknevermore.com, and my handle on pretty much every single social media platform on existence is at aknevermore. So,
And just so you guys know, all the links to find AK Nevermore will be in the description below, in the pinned comments, as well as the podcast show notes. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, I'm so excited. We finally got to do this.
I know. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Have a great one. Thank you.
You too.